بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Today we are continuing the grammar lesson number 4 of the grammar lessons. And Alhamdulillah, we are looking at al-mabni wal-mu'arrab. As you can see, al-mabni wal-mu'arrab. Al-mabni wal-mu'arrab. The last time we looked at mabni wal mu'arrab in the lessons, and this part is very short. Why? Because it is very easy to understand, and mabni wal mu'arrab is not a complex concept. It is a very simple concept. So this session will be very short. So without wasting much time, let's start. المبني والمعرب. ما معنى المبني وما معنى المعرب? What do you mean by mabni and what do you mean by mu'arrab? The last time, simple, we said that a noun in its normal form, most of the nouns in Arabic language in their normal form are marfu. That is to say, most of them have dhamma on their last letter. So definitely, if it is having fatha or kesra, it may due to a particular condition. It is not normal that a noun will end with kesra, or will have kesra on its last letter as a vowel, or fatha on the last letter as a vowel. So when such happens, it is as a result of a particular condition. I hope we explain this. And as I said, most of them will have dhamma on their last letter, but it will change when there is a necessity. However, there are some nouns that don't respect that condition, or that don't respect that rule. Let me repeat again. So here, mu'arrabs are simple words. Okay, words. When we are talking, let me clarify something here. When we are dealing with mabni wal mu'arrab, it is not only restricted to nouns. We can have mabni wal mu'arrab in huruf, mabni wal mu'arrab in fi'l, or in af'al, fi'l. Okay, now have mabni wal mu'arrab in nouns. All the three parts of the speech, the fi'l, the ism, the harf, they both have mabni wal mu'arrab. I hope that is clear. So it's not only limited. So it's not just nouns, but they are words. Okay, there could be a word that is not ism, but it doesn't change, or it may change. Depends on the word. Okay. So that's why we are not saying it is a noun. We are not restricted to noun, but this lesson is more or less restricted to nouns. But in generally, the Arabic language, we can have mabni wal mu'arrab in huruf and then af'al also. So mu'arrab, the vowel on the last letter can change. Okay, it can change. That's just what we mean by mu'arrab. They are the words whose last letter, the vowel on their last letter, has the potential to change if there is a necessity. Example, you can see here, baytun is a house. Al-baytu is the house. Al-baytu, the house. But assuming, as you can see here, a harf for the jar comes before the word. You can remember what huruf al-jar they do. They will have a grammatical impact on the what? On the word, and that is a change on their last letter to kesra. Okay, so that change, this word al-baytu has changed. The vowel on the last letter has changed from dhamma, initial dhamma, to kesra. So it is called mu'arrab. It is called mu'arrab. But however, there are other words. Okay, there are other words or nouns here. We are talking about nouns for now. There are other nouns that wouldn't obey that rule, and those are what we call what? The mabni. So the mabni nouns or mabni words are simple words. The vowel on the last letter doesn't change irrespective of any condition. So example is here. At dunya. Dunya is what? The earth. I mean the lower life, or just the earth here. So if dunya is spelled this way initially from scratch, it is spelled this way. However, as you can see, there is a half jar, just like here. A half jar was here. The same way a half jar is here again, but the last letter doesn't change to what? To kesra. Okay, you never say dunyi. No, it will always be dunya, no matter whatever be the condition, whether it is maf'ulun bihi, or whether it is majrur, or whether it is whatever. In the sentence, it will never change. It will never change. And not only huruf al-jar, this is just an example, but even if it is maf'ulun bihi, no, or whatever, it will not change. So that was what we mean by mabni. And then al-mu'arrab. So mabni simple is coming from the word bana. I've said this several times. It's coming from the word bana. And bana means to build. Okay, if you build a house, okay, how can you move the house again? If you build a house on a particular plot of land, can you decide, okay, I want to now move it from this plot, or can you move it around? No, it is not possible. So that's why the word itself, it signifies what it is happening. The word is fixed. Okay, it is rigid. It is unchanged. You can't change it again. So no matter whatever condition it found itself within the sentence, the last letter doesn't change. Okay, the last letter doesn't change. La tataghayyar. It doesn't change. Okay, so that is just it about mu'arrab wal mabni. We don't need to explain much, because I think the last time we just explained it a lot. So we are very clear with it. So let's look at here. I hope you can see. Al-mabni wal-mu'arrab fil asma. Al-mabni wal-mu'arrab fil asma. So al-mabni and mu'arrab fil asma in nouns. So we are looking at it in nouns. As I told you, it is not only nouns. We can have a mabni verb. Okay, and then we can have a mabni harf. Not even a mabni harf. All the huruf, they are mabni. All the huruf, okay, they are mabni. So you see, so it's not only restricted to nouns. For example, let's see here. Let me just go back. This one, the fi itself. The fi itself, you know, is a harf jar, so it is a harf. It is not a noun, and it's not a verb, but it is what? A harf. So it in itself, this one, the fi itself, is mabni. You never say fi, or you say fia. You can't put fatha or doma or kesra on the last letter. How it is spelled, it is going to always be like that. Fi will always be spelled fi, no matter whatever condition it found itself. So that's what I said. Please take note of this. All the hurufs, whether it is harful jar, whether it is harful istifham, whether it is harful atf, whether it is all the huruf, they are mabni. They don't change. They don't change. Okay? Yes. But here we are looking at fil asma. We are looking at nouns that are mabni, and then nouns that are mu'arrab. Nouns that change and nouns that doesn't change. I mean specifically the last letter, the vowel on their last letter. Okay, changing. So we have kullul asma mu'arrabun. Kullul asma mu'arrabun. All nouns are mu'arrab, except whatever is coming here. So this is an exception. Okay, what we are seeing is exception. What we are seeing here is exception. Maw-izah, exception. Okay, so here, doma'ir kulluha mabniyatun. Doma'ir, you can remember that doma'ir, the pronouns anta, anti, huwa, hiya, antum, all those pronouns, ana, all those pronouns, they are what? They are mabni. They don't change. You never say ana Ani, anu. No. It will always be spelled ana, ana. Whether there is a harf jar fi or ila or whatever after, before it, or even if it is maf'ulun bihi in the sentence. We have not looked at maf'ulun bihi, but we'll look at it later. Okay, it's also a very interesting concept. But now we'll look at it. Don't bother yourself. So whether it is all this, it will never change. All the domir, they are mabni, they are fixed. They don't change. The last letter, the vowel on the last letter will never change. So that is domair. So that's also domair kulluha mabniyatun. All are mabni. Now asma'ul ishara. Asma'ul ishara. All this asma'ul ishara is an ism. It's from the asma. Asma'ul mawsula, they are from the asma. Asma'ul istifham, they are from the asma. So these are just classifications of asma. Some categories. We have looked at almost everything here. Almost, not all. Almost all this. Asma'ul ishara, asma'ul mawsula, asma'ul istifham. Okay. So asma'ul ishara. Now let's look at asma'ul ishara. You can remember the asma'ul ishara, the demonstrative pronouns. Haza, hazihi, zalika, tilka, haulai. All those demonstrative pronouns. So what is their, are they mabni or mu'arrab? So here is saying kulluha mabniyatun. Kulluha mabniyatun. All of them, they are mabni. They are mabni. Ma'ada. If you see this ma'ada, it means except. Okay, so if you see here exception, it's the same thing here, exception. But this doesn't have exception. So domir doesn't have exception. All the domair, they are the pronouns. Ana, anta, and they are all mabni, meaning they don't change. The vowel on their last letter doesn't change. But here it has an exception. This one too has an exception. If you see the red, the ma'ada, it means except. Here too, except. But the remaining two, they don't have any exception. So it's only this asma'ul mawsula and then asma'ul ishara that have exception. Okay, but all the rest, they are mabni. They are mabni. Okay, now look at something here. Ma'ada, except. So haza, hazihi, haulai. Their spelling doesn't change. You can have haza and then maybe there is a harf jar here, then you now say hazi. No, the spelling is always haza. And other than that, unless you are changing it to this one, to hazihi. Okay, so here ma'ada, the exception is in the dual. It's in the dual. Has here. Let me do a quick recap. If you want to form dual, how do you do it? You can remember the last time I told you, if you are forming dual of any noun in Arabic, you add alif wa nun. Example, kitabun. If you want to say two books, dual, you say kitabani. Add alif wa nun. The same way, kalamun, you say kalamani. Daftarun, daftarani. Okay, in that other. So just add alif wa nun. So it's the same way, haza here. Haza means one. You are referring to something that is one. But if you want to see these two things, hazani, you have to add alif wa nun here. So you see hazani. So that is the same thing here. But hatani, there's a typing mistake here. Here is supposed to be hatani, not hanani. Let me just correct it. Sorry for that. Here. Okay. As a yakfi. Okay. So I think this is clear, right? So hatani means you are female. Two is a plural. That I'm saying the plural. The dual of hazihi. Okay, hatani. These two things, but feminine in gender. So except the dual of haza and then the dual of hazihi. That's the exception. Okay, that's the exception. Then we have asma'ul mawsula. Asma'ul Mawsula. Asma'ul Mawsula. You can remember we looked at Asma'ul Mawsula. Okay. Asma'ul Mawsula. So that was the Allazi. And we said Asma'ul Mawsula is what? The relative pronoun. The relative pronoun. So if you want to see the man who left, so you see Ar-Rajulu Allazi Kharaja. You see Allazi, who, the man who left. So that who, it is returning back to the man. Okay, so that's what we call a relative pronoun, Asma'ul Mawsula. So Allazi, Allati is for feminine. Allazina, that's the plural of Allazi. And then Allati is the plural of Allati. Please, we have not looked at Asma'ul Mawsula into details, I know that. But this is, a generalized table. So, as I said, some of the things here, a small part of it, we have not yet looked at it, but don't let it bother you as we go. All that we have not looked at here, as we go, it will come and then we'll study them, inshallah. Here, we have not looked at Allati and then an extension. We only look at Allazi and then Allati, right? Inshallah. But the rest we'll look at it. And even here, I know this part, we have not looked at it that much. Okay. So kulluha mabniyatu. All of it are mabni. Ma'a, the exception of Allazani is the dual. Okay, Allazani is the dual. And then Allati, Allatani is the dual of Allati. So the dual of Haza and Hazihi is the exception here. The same way too. The exception here is the dual of Allazi and then Allati. So all the exceptions has to do with the duals. The duals of here and then the dual of this is the exception. Now look at Asma'ul Istifham. Asma'ul Istifham. You can remember we looked at Asma'ul Istifham. So kulluha mabniyatun. All of them are mabni. So there's no exception here. So man, you can remember that Asma'ul Istifham. Man, who, ma, what, mata, when, aina, where, kaifa, how, kam, how much, it depends, or how many, it depends on the sentence where it found itself. Hal, the same way. Maza, the maza. So all this are the Asma'ul Istifham. Okay. Now we look at Ba'du Zuruf. Here, my intention is not to explain these things here, because we have not looked at Zuruf. We only look at a small part of it. That was some of the Zuruf al-Makan, the Fawqa, the Tahta, the Yamin, the Yasar. Okay, we looked at some of them, Amama, Khalfa, some of the Zuruf. So that was a Zuruf al-Makan. So a part of it, but we have not looked at it extensively. So what I just want here is that, so don't concentrate much on this table, this part of the Ba'd of Zuruf. What I want to say here is that some Zuruf, okay, that's why they say Ba'd. You can remember Ba'd. It means what? Ba'du. It depends, Ba'du or Ba'd. Okay, it is what? Part of something, or some. Ba'du Zuruf. So some Zuruf. Okay. So what I want here is that some of them are بعضهم تتغير. Some of them change. They are mu'arrab. وبعضهم لا تتغير. And some of them, they don't change. Okay. Irrespective of the condition. For example, qabla, or let's say بعض فما يكذبك بعض بالدين. Okay, بعض, you can see فما يكذبك بعض, it is having dhamma. Okay, but it can come again in the Quran with kesra on the last letter. Not بعض, but what? But بعدي, من بعدي. I hope that is clear. من بعدي. Okay, so some of them change. and some of them doesn't change. That is the most important thing I want here. I want you to note that some zuruf change and some of them they doesn't change, meaning some of them are mu'arrab while others are mabni. So that is what you need to know here. But here we haven't looked at them. We'll look at it. Haisu, munzu, amsi, al-an, is, iza. We'll look at it. Okay. So that is it. That is it for here. But this one's Asmaul Istifham, we looked at it. Asmaul Mawsula, we study it. Asmaul Ishara, we study it. And then the Dama'ir too, we study it. So that is it. That is Al-Mu'arrab wal-Mabni min al-Asma. So that is the Mu'arrab and then the Mabni within the Asma. So this, you have to take note of the exception here. Because Hazani, you see it sometimes Hazaini. So that is a change. You see it as change. But here too, Al-Lazani, you see it sometimes Al-Lazaini. It is also a change. So that's why they have accepted them. So they are exception. Take note of it very well. And we'll stop here and then we'll continue in the next lesson. So as I said, the lesson is short because Mabni and Mu'arrab is a very simple concept. Okay. So in the next lesson, inshallah, we'll start with, or we'll continue with Nakira al-Ma'rifah. We'll look at grammar of Nakira al-Ma'rifah also. Okay. So let's stop here, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا في حياتكم وبارك الله لي ولكم في قرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بآياته والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.